when I came home from the bar, I remember that Marcel was sitting in the chair, and he just looked like he was mad at me, like I said, but I didn't really think that everything that happened was going to happen. Um, there's a lot of pieces that I don't remember before the actual incident of me getting woke up to his attack on me, and that's because of all the liquor and weed and pills that I took. So it's a blank spot for me, and that's where just when I came home, I just don't remember getting into bed, falling asleep. Just one of those nights, where you just had too much. So I know that at some point I did get into bed and fall asleep, and what had woke me up was when the glass broke. It was just loud, loud glass, and I didn't know at first what it was. Later, when I saw the crime scene photos, I realized it was a coffee table that he had shattered. So I woke up to that. I remember just sitting up, just startled in the bed and kind of like gasping, like just, I didn't really know what was going on, like just knew something wasn't right. So I started trying to turn on the lamp, and all the while I'm doing this, I was getting hit in my head. I'm not sure if he had something that he was hitting me with or what, because it was dark and, I just woke up to this. So it all happened really fast. But
take your time. Take your time.
Okay. I never went and got the knife. The knife was already there. I know that I jumped up and I started swinging the lamp, and the lamp had hit Marcel. And I turned, and he was still hitting me, and I had fell. And I really was just trying to look for my purse, look for my cell phone so I could call the police. But during all that, when I fell and I was just reaching around for stuff in the dark, he was still hitting me, and my hand felt the knife. And I jumped up, and that's when I stabbed him. Honestly, after that happened, I was like pacing back and forth, and I was yelling at him, and I was asking him, why did he hit me while I was asleep? And he wasn't answering me. And it was at this point that I began to notice that the apartment was just all messed up. And I was like just trying to put it together because I couldn't remember, but it wasn't like that when I came home. So I knew that something had happened that I still, to this day, I don't know what happened before I fell asleep. But when I was asking him, like, why did he hit me, and I was yelling at him for him to answer me, and I heard him gurgle. And so at that point, I just knew, like, this is serious. But it really did hit me like I didn't really realize that I had stabbed him. I just kind of, in my mind, like, I just thought I was fighting him, and it happened so fast. So at that point, I got dressed, and I ran out the house, and I started calling 911. And I called them 4 times and just told them, can they hurry, can they hurry? And by the time they got there, it was too late.
Okay. When the police arrived, what happened?
When the police arrived, I was outside. I was kind of like sitting directly on the side of my apartment, and they later would say that I did that because I was trying to elude them in some type of way, but that I was very, very intoxicated, so what I was doing to me made sense in my mind, but I know it doesn't really make sense. But I know that the first thing they was going to do when a situation happens is they ask to question a person, and that they might say, we're going to detain you and put you in the back of this police car. And that's what I was trying to avoid, because I wanted to go to the hospital with him. I wanted to make sure he was okay. So that's why I was on the side of the house like that. But once they did approach me, they had asked me what happened, and I lied. I told them I was walking home from a friend's house, and they did exactly what I knew they would do. They put me in the car and said they was going to detain me for questioning, and at that point they took me to homicide.
Okay. So you didn't make it back into the house at all. You was outside the full time.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Now, in the courts, they say that you stabbed him 11 times, and you he was killed. He was killed by being stabbed 11 times, and they say he was blunt force trauma to the head with a frying pan or something of that nature.
Right.
And they said it was bloody when they found it, and you didn't tell them about that part. They noticed it when they found the bloody frying pan skillet. Is that true?
I'm sorry. The last part of your question, I didn't hear.
Okay, they said that
about the frying pan.
Yeah, the blood. They said they found a bloody frying pan after they had detained you, and you didn't mention the frying the frying pan, and it was bloody. And they said that you used that to bash him in the head with. Is that true?
No, that's not true. I've told them I don't know how the frying pan got there. In the initial reports from the first 2 or 3 responding officers who came to the scene, their reports say that the frying pan was partially under his arm. Like, I guess they said he had died on his back, and they said that the frying pan was like partially under his arm, and his arm was like twisted behind his back. But later, Detective Schutte came in, and his report says that the frying pan was laying next to his body, like up by his head area, and in the crime scene photos, the frying pan is not touching his body. It's exactly where Detective Schutte said that it was. But there is a lot of discrepancies in Detective Schutte's his own reports and his testimony. We caught him lying on the witness stand, and that's actually one of my arguments, is tampering with the crime scene, because where they say that frying pan was and where it actually was doesn't match. Detective Schutte said that the lights were off in the bathroom. There was just a lot of things, so that's actually one of my issues for appeal.
Okay. So, is it possible, could he have been hitting you in the head with the frying pan, or no?
That's what I believe. That's what I think, yes. But I don't know, because I just know I was getting hit hard. I don't know what it was that he was hitting me with, or if it was just his fist.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Did the police ever take you to the hospital to get looked at?
No.
Okay. Did you explain, were you hurting, or told them your head was hurting, or you was hurting anywhere? Did you tell them that?
No. At the time when everything happened, initially when I was taken to homicide, I fell asleep or passed out or whatever. I don't know, because like I said, I had been hitting my head and I had been very intoxicated. They gave me a PBT test, which that was about, I want to say 2 to 4 hours. I will have to look at the documents, but that was 2 to 4 hours after I was taking a homicide, and I blew 2 times the legal limit of intoxication. So had they taken that when I first got there, then I'm sure then I would have blew extremely higher, but they never gave me any kind of blood test to see what kind of substances I had in me or anything. They just asked me, and I lied about it, because in my mind I was still trying to protect him. I really didn't understand that he was dead.
Okay. So with all that being said and done, okay, because usually they would any homicide officer, a smart homicide officer or a seasoned, thorough homicide officer would have done that. They would have took a breathalyzer, or took your blood, or took you to the hospital, to have you checked out because they want to they cross all, dot all their I's and cross all their T's to make sure everything is good on their end. So you're saying that none of that happened with these homicide officers?
No, that didn't happen. And with me being as intoxicated and high and all the pills I had taken as I was, I basically was probably numb to it, and the situation was so traumatic that I wasn't thinking about myself or what was wrong with me. My only concern the whole time, I just kept asking him if he was okay.
Okay. So at this point in time, when did you find out that he had passed and didn't make it?
When Detective Shooty came into the homicide room to talk to me, he was asking me what happened. I just kept telling him, like, we need to go check on him. We need to see if he's okay. And he was telling me that he had passed away. And I was just, like, in complete denial. I just kept telling him, like, y'all was supposed to do CPR, and y'all, why didn't y'all help him? Those kinds of things. And I actually asked him if he could take me back to him so I could say goodbye to him. But when they was in the courtroom, they tried to make it look like their words was that I asked to go view the body, but that's not how that happened. I just told them if they would let me just go say goodbye to him because I knew I wasn't going to be able to see him anymore.
Okay. Wow, that's a deep one right there. How long did it take them to charge you with with the murder? That same the next day, or it took a couple days?
I woke up in a cell. They took me out of the homicide room because I just lost it. Once it really hit me that he was gone, I lost it. I started throwing stuff everywhere and screaming and just going crazy. And so they took me out of there and they put me in some type of room, and eventually I cried myself to sleep. And when I woke up, they told me I was being charged with open murder.
Okay. And let me explain what open murder is to a lot of the audience. For you guys who don't know what open murder is, that means that the homicide officers or the prosecutor, they don't have enough evidence to rate it as a murder 1 or murder 2 or manslaughter. So they leave it up to the judge and the jury to come up with murder 1, murder 2, or manslaughter. So that's what that means for a lot of you guys who always ask, what does open murder mean?